Microphone is now working. Isn't life funny? Now I gotta get on the internet so I can see the comments. That was bizarre. Be with you in a moment. Getting a little startup difficulties here. All right, is anybody watching? Can anybody see me? We've been going here for 2 minutes. Hello, rickmiracle here. Experimenting doing a 1-hour show at noontime. Trying to see if we can get an audience to talk about something important. Says here, 0 people watching. Welcome back, rickmiracle. Can anybody hear me? Bell Star, Rick, have you heard of Donald Marshall? I was looking at that today after you sent me a comment earlier, and I will explore and investigate Donald Marshall some more. So, you can hear me fine? You can see me fine? I'm here in the mountains of North Carolina, as you can see. So I want to talk about chemtrails. Do you know about chemtrails? If you know about chemtrails, thank you. One of the commenters says it looks beautiful here. It is. Beautiful day here in the mountains of North Carolina. Amazingly enough, they're not spraying anything that I can see. If I aim this camera up, it's a pretty blue sky up there. Alright. So funny, I can see myself moving around. Yes, yesterday, what's Saturday night, Friday night? I looked up, we had a full moon here in the mountains of North Carolina. And they were spraying like crazy at night. So we got 2 people watching. So anyways, I've been thinking about trying to do a regular 1-hour program at noontime so that people could expect to see the show, and we could talk about current events and other things. I figured noontime would be a good time. Everybody gets a lunch break. Donald Marshall says there are no aliens, they are fallen angels. I think my research is verifying that fact. That apparently no alien ships either, they all belong to us or other countries. That's believable. We do have some advanced technologies now. Most people are running around with an iPhone that's a supercomputer that people didn't have years ago, not too many years ago. And of course the artificial intelligence system coming online, probably already online. I can see the interaction with my computer use, and it seems like when I'm doing things they don't want me to do, my computer starts to hang up. So let me just show a couple pictures, if I might, and I'll come back to the comments in a minute. I got to switch over to the live streaming software so I can see what I'm doing, and we can talk about the pictures. Alright, I can see myself, and so I want to talk about some things. One of them is HAARP, H-A-A-R-P, and they are strategically located, as you can see here. Got to get used to my Alaska, Puerto Rico, Area 51, Britain. So these are HAARP transmitters. Russia, Norway, Iraq. And what are HAARP transmitters? There are these 40-acre vast arrayed antenna transmitters. Now, why, pray tell, would they be spending all that money installing all those systems all over the world? And apparently, some people are saying they can cause this. Heating up the desired area where they target it. Here's an interesting little commercial right there for Israel that I think has everything to do with this. But they're having a program called Aliyah, where Jewish people from all over the world are encouraged to immigrate to Israel. A lot of people don't know about that, and it's been going on for the past 100+ years. It's part of the Zionist program. So I believe everything is connected. Here's some more pictures of the HAARP transmitter stations. And apparently some people can take pictures like this of the sky. I will get back to the comments section in a minute. Apparently they have floating transmitters. You can go on Yahoo image site and see these pictures. And systems that can travel on the ground, mobile. And apparently, like the California fires and people making accusations of directed energy beams, the HAARP transmitters apparently can do that. But a lot of people are doing this. They don't want to pay attention. Man-made global warming is chemtrails. You can go on the Yahoo image site, look up chemtrails, man-made global warming, and see these pictures and the links. I encourage people to wake up. Over there in California, I believe they have these big signs A mechanical analog to bio, micron-sized mechanical dust, which is distributed as an aerosol inhaled into the lungs. Dust mechanically bores into lung tissue and execute various pathological missions, including something called Morgellons or Ebola nanobots, a wholly new class of weaponry which is legal. Got a NASA logo on there. So apparently with this activity towards a global world order, the politicians don't seem to care about us. But I believe a picture says 1,000 words is we need to wake up. Ignoring the situation is not going to work. Jade Helm 15, Sentient Mass, you can see the name of this video, you can look up on YouTube. But are they doing this in your neighborhood? Global march against chemtrails. Even where I live downtown, we've had some protests or demonstrations trying to get them to stop dumping chemicals in the sky. So you can see this particular advertisement was 2015. Just FYI, I was looking at my pictures for this video, and I noticed this one in the bunch. You can take a picture of the sun if you use a welder's mask to put in front of your camera, and you can capture pictures like this. It's no mystery. You can see the sun behind the glowing light. What you see in the sky is not the actual sun. The sun is far away. The beams of light that hit our atmosphere is what glows. Just like if you have a flashlight and you aim it at a wall, on the wall will be the beam. Not from the flashlight to the wall, but on the wall. And the same thing with the sun. You can see in these pictures that you can take. So my point is here, don't let people deceive you with Planet X and all these pictures. You can capture the real sun behind the glowing light in the sky. Get a welder's mask or a different filter for your camera. Orlando, I've been following the chemtrail situation. This picture was 2009. Downtown Orlando, I thought how apropos right behind the American flag. And you can see in this picture, the whole sky, you can see the streaming dust from the chemtrail line painting the sky pasty white. And if you pay attention, you can see that it is blowing apart. If you've ever seen skywriting and you watch the powder dumped from a plane, it goes like what you see in this picture. It's streams of dust. And this is a chemtrail, which is streams of dust. You can see the effect here, what it does. It paints the sky pasty white. They know what they're doing. William S. Cohn, U.S. Defense Secretary, Department of Defense News Briefing, April 28, 1997. He says, others are engaging even in an eco-type of terrorism whereby they can alter the climate, set off earthquakes, volcanoes remotely through the use of electromagnetic waves. We looked at HAARP. We looked at all these heavy metals they're dumping. And they're installing the cell phone towers about almost every mile or two along the highways and the streets and in neighborhoods. One video I took and showed in a previous video, less than 2 blocks apart, hovering over a local school for children. So there are plenty of ingenious minds out there that are at work finding ways in which they can wreak terror upon other nations. It's real, and that's the reason why we have to intensify our efforts, weather warfare. And you can go look up these videos, Jade Helm 2015 Sentient Mass. So I think I'll pop back over to here and see what my notes are. Okay, now I can see my notes. Have I looked into 5G? Yes, I have, and I've discussed it quite thoroughly in numerous videos. Uh, 5G, if you think about it, that's 5 gigahertz. The radio frequencies, and you can go on the internet and look into this, do the math. But the frequencies, the wavelength, is the same size as water molecules or oxygen molecules, and the same size as your blood cells in your body. And if you know anything, you'll have to realize, like if you take two tuning forks or two guitars and you hit the G key string, the other guitar will start vibrating because it's at the same frequency. So if they're going to take the 5G, 5 gigahertz network with the cell phone towers every mile or so everywhere, permeating everything, part of this smart system, and they can send out frequencies that match oxygen frequencies, water molecule frequencies, blood cell frequencies. They can literally start cooking these components in our bodies, notwithstanding the fact with the chemtrailing of heavy metals, those heavy metals are in our bodies. So if they match those frequencies, you can only imagine what would happen. The same thing if you put a fork in a microwave oven. So they're turning the world, it seems, into a gigantic microwave oven. So I did have a reason for this show today. Yesterday I made a video, but somehow the audio on my microphone plugged into the computer didn't work, so I made a whole 1-hour video with no volume. So I decided to do a 1-hour show at noontime today to redo the material I discussed yesterday. And I'll start with this one document because I have noticed that a lot of people just are not believing that they're dumping chemicals in the sky. Now I'm looking around here and I can see right there, pretty blue sky. Nothing is being dumped, no pasty white right now. I noticed that this morning. But if you watch my video that I published yesterday, sky spraying in North Carolina by rickmiracle, June 2018. That's the title. I published it yesterday. What I do, and I've been doing this since 2005, is I photograph or I video the daily chemtrailing, dumping of chemicals in the sky. So I've become very knowledgeable about it. Sometimes they spray long lines, sometimes they spray short lines, sometimes they spray way off to the east or way off to the west or way off to the north or south. There seems to be an intelligent reason why they're doing it, and a lot of people will say it's weather control. People don't want to believe. And I think if you see what's going on in the world, commenter, Bellstar, you know, people like recently President Donald Trump announced Jerusalem, United States recognizes Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. I don't know about you, But I don't recognize Jerusalem as the capital. I think the Palestinian people should be given back their land. I am aware that they brought us World War I and World War II and 9/11 and so much more to bring us to this point today and to get all of the Palestinian land for an effort that's been going on for hundreds of years called Zionism. Everything I'm talking about has a religious component to it. Now, when you understand who controls our world, it's the same people that are dumping these chemicals in the sky, the same people who are building the HAARP transmitters, the same people who are putting up the microwave system everywhere, the same people creating the artificial intelligence computer system that ties into our cell phones, our computers, our TVs, monitoring us with face recognition, credit card usage, everything we do. They got this beast computer. It's a scary situation. But let me get to my documents here. Commenter says, it is good against evil, and Satan is the god of this world. That appears to be some truth to it, as it is even said in the Bible by Jesus, when apparently Satan offered him everything, and Jesus said, I don't need your world. In my Father's house there are many mansions. So I'm aware of all that. But a lot of people just don't want to buy the religious component to this conversation. But the fulfillment of Jerusalem being recognized as the capital of Israel by President Donald Trump is a big thing. Those people over there in Israel and the Zionist, Kabbalist, apparently Lucifer satanic worshippers all over the world have to be jumping up and high-fiving each other and believing they have accomplished their mission. Anyways, here's a document I want to look at. Something I tried to do yesterday, but the 1-hour video, I was just talking away, and when I reviewed it after I was done, there was no volume. With this new microphone here, that's what happens sometimes. But in California, they have something called a New Water Order. California Drought, Chemtrails, and the Global Elite Connection. And this is a May 2nd, 2015 press release. Obama will not finish his second term. That's what it said here back then, so you can't really believe what's in the news. Jerry Brown just announced new laws that will be enforced on California to preserve water in the worst drought of California in recent record. And if you were paying attention back in 2015, you know that they were running a program called Jade Helm 15, troops and equipment, and even going door to door in neighborhoods, a mock martial law situation. And there were lots of accusations that this drought in California was caused by weather control, and a lot of people had to give up their land, sell their properties, and I think that's probably the reason they were doing it. I don't even watch the news anymore, a commenter says. I got rid of the dish 3 years ago. I noticed that I don't watch the news. Even the news on Yahoo News, when I go check my email, seems to be intentional propaganda. Got somebody riding by on a bike. Alright, back to this argument. I speculate, according to this press release, that there is a connection between this drought, chemtrails, and the global elite quietly buying up all the freshwater reserves across the world. There is most certainly a systematic attempt to create the problem and provide the solution. So they have a lot of links here to prove the point here. Well, I got to try to get my so you can look up this document. Hopefully if you're watching this video, you have pen and paper in hand and taking some notes. But you can look up that document, about 2015, and there's a lot of links there. One is about Global Research California, the new water barons, Wall Street megabanks are buying up the world's water, and so much more. And here it says on this document I just showed that they were tying in the fallen angels with the New World Order 2011. And another one here says alchemy and the rise of the beast 2014. So the most difficult, I think, thing for people to grasp and realize is this component to the connecting the anti-Christianity, anti-Muslim, anti-Buddhist, anti-Hindu, anti-religions all over the world is a real thing. And even in the United States during the 1920s and 30s when they had communist hearings with the government, Congress having hearings about communism and interviewing communists, and it was testified that they had planned to infiltrate every aspect of society: education, TV, media, medical, and they were going to change the world. And apparently one of their goals is to eliminate Christianity for we Christians. And apparently the Muslims in the Middle East are not having a party. After 9/11, they've all but been destroyed. So apparently nobody's going to be left out with this fallen angel, satanic, Luciferic, mystery religion propaganda program. It's going to affect all of us, which is a sad thing that people can't wake up, because a lot of people are buying into the left and right revolution, something they're calling a soft revolution right now, because it hasn't turned bloody, and let's hope it doesn't turn bloody. Alright, the next document. Geoengineering David Keith using aluminum over 10 megatons per year instead of sulfur. Geoengineer David Keith announced at the AAAS meeting in San Diego on Saturday, February 20th, that the stratospheric aerosol in geoengineering program is now considering using aluminum over 10 megatons per year instead of sulfur. So a lot of scientists have tied aluminum cans, drinking soda or beer or whatever, to Alzheimer's and other diseases. And apparently they're planning on putting a lot more aluminum in the air. Getting used to my live show presentation process here. That will probably evolve. Alright, a little more to this document. We haven't done anything serious on aluminum studies and research, etc. And so there could be something terrible that we will find tomorrow that we haven't looked at. David Keith at the meeting in San Diego. 10 to 20 megatons of aluminum a year without any testing. And what will they do? It causes Alzheimer's disease, osteoporosis, colic, rickets, gastrointestinal problems, interference with the metabolism of calcium, extreme nervousness, anemia, headaches, decreased liver and kidney function, memory loss, speech problems, softening of the bones, aching muscles can all be caused by aluminum toxicity. Now I know a lot of people find this hard to believe, that this would be going on. But according to my research, World War I and World War II and other revolutions, French Revolution. I've made plenty of videos on these topics. And 9/11 were all planned to bring about this global world order. Alright, another document here. Conspiracy theorists are vindicated. U.S. Senate reports chemtrails are real and are killing us. So it says here on the next page, there's a picture here. Mentioning the word chemtrails on a public bus or Facebook is bound to earn you a few eye rolls from eavesdroppers and skeptical family members. However, while skepticism, regardless of the source, isn't exactly the worst thing in the world, it appears that those who believe strongly in the idea that the U.S. government is spraying dangerous chemicals into the atmosphere may have been on to something after all. So apparently there was a video you can watch. I'll show you the link here. Maybe you could see it and go watch this or look up this document. So we've got some actual official government documents from the U.S. admitting to the placement of chemicals in our atmosphere. Again, there's more to this document. I'll show you the link on the top. Got to get used to my computer thing here. See the link on the top? Pause your computer or write it down. One thing I do is I just have a camera ready and I take a picture of the screen. Or when I see other things I want to document, I even take a picture of the grocery list on a little board in the house. Instead of writing it all down, I take a picture and take my iPhone with me. So anyways, dear Miss Dr. Beckman, weather modification, although a relatively young science, has over the years stimulated great interest within the scientific, commercial, governmental, and agricultural communities. For over 30 years, both legislative and executive branches of the federal government have been involved in a number of aspects of weather modification. Okay, one thing I noticed when I did my research in the past couple days preparing for this video was to actually see if there was any current real proof, and it seems my discovery was a little unexpected, but there were some results to my search, like Morning News, USA.com, chemtrails proof, chemtrails declared real, scientists found aerosols. So I said, wow, some evidence I used in my video. And I clicked that link. You're not going to believe this, but that's what I got. And it didn't happen just once. There's the link here on the bottom, if we can get this page to quit blowing in the breeze. So I searched. This is the keywords I put in the search engine. And what I found was a little bit amazing. There were a lot of results saying that scientists have totally debunked the whole chemtrail theory. There is an information war going on. They are actively doing things, putting up these cell phone towers everywhere with gigantic thick cables. Not trying to do the 6 sign here. I'm just showing you how the diameter of the black cables coming from the ground to these cell phone transmitters right beside the road, right beside the highway, and big warning signs with microwave warnings, don't get too close. And I'm thinking, why are they right next to the road? But then I'm thinking they're preparing for something. They don't worry about people fleeing. People will be detected wherever they are. They'll be carrying their own microwave transmitter, their cell phones, and everything else will be smart, and probably most people will be microchipped. Those who resist will probably be apprehended, put in FEMA camps. So anyways, what I did find looking up these keywords, think chemtrails are just nonsense conspiracy theory. It says here, conspiracy theorists think they are the most barking mad nonsense idea of the bizarre conspiracy theory or chemtrails. Here's what scientists really think about chemtrails. The researchers hope that people will consider actual scientific opinion, not just conspiracy theory. So they don't want you to believe, which you can look up and see, that they're not spraying here right now. But yesterday, you can go watch my video I released, Sky Spraying in the North Carolina mountains by rickmiracle, June 2018. Look up my video. And every other day or every day, I take videos of the ongoing chemtrailing. So I got pages and pages of, it says here 10% of Americans think chemtrails conspiracy. So they think only 10% of us think it. They're trying to say it's, we have gone mad by thinking it. Have you run into someone so stupid that many chemtrail believers also think? Even Wikipedia says the chemtrail conspiracy theory is a false claim. You're just part of the conspiracy. So anyways, I found page and page of websites that were trying to debunk anybody who believed what you can see is not real. There was another document here that I came across in my simple research. The United Nations exposes chemtrails. 100% proof we are being poisoned. So write these keywords down and you can actually get this actual document. Anyways, this lady, part of the agricultural research group from California, was testifying before the United Nations. I watched the video, and I posted a portion of that video in my video I released yesterday, Sky Spraying in the North Carolina mountains by rickmiracle, June 2018. You could just skip almost to the end and watch the two videos I posted there by actual video of the conference at the United Nations. So anyways, it says here, by now everyone has witnessed streaks of white trailing across the sky, stretching from horizon to horizon, ultimately turning the skies into a murky haze. We can no longer ignore the fact that our skies are being heavily polluted with aluminum, arsenic, chromium, cadmium, selenium, and silver. All of which attribute to a host of health problems, including neurological effects, heart disease, eyesight issues, reproductive failures, immune system damage, gastronomical problems, disorders, kidney, damaged liver, hormonal problems, and more. The truth is, the government is spraying, according to this article, chemtrails in the hopes of population reduction. Furthermore, they have been known to us as biological testing agents on the populace, all the while claiming that nothing more is happening than just vapor from those planes. You can go watch that video. I'll show you the link to it. We now have 100% undeniable evidence that chemtrails exist. The video below is of Rosalind Patterson, the president of the Agricultural Coalition. In it, she addresses the United Nations on chemtrails, geoengineering, and weather modifications. So you can look this up. Here's the link on the page. So if you just look up Rosalind Patterson, Rosalind Patterson addressing the United Nations on chemtrails, you'll probably have a lot of results. I watched the entire video. Anyways, another site I saw, again, Morning News USA, but a different result page. Chemtrails, proof atmospheric scientists revealed facts again, covert geoengineering. And guess what? It was gone again. There's the link on the bottom. It's a different one than the other one. So I noticed a plethora of scientific evidence and studies by somebody saying it's all nonsense, and only 10% of us believe in this foolishness. But then they have these discussions before the United Nations that are, you can go watch the video, and much more evidence. Okay, another document here. This one here, a case for climate engineering. Take a look at David Keith's work with geoengineering over the years. Browse his publications over at his homepage, and the website is www.keith.harvard.edu. I will show that. But I did go on abebooks.com, and I managed to pick up this book for $3.50, including shipping. And there seem to be a lot of them available for sale. So for $3.50, including shipping, you can go on abebooks.com, used book site, and get David Keith's book and verify all this stuff for yourself. And here's his website. So you have to use discernment. You can't just get these books and go, well, that's the truth. Or look at these scientific studies and go, that's the truth. There is an intense propaganda campaign going on to deceive people. There's no doubt about that. I mean, think about the recent past presidential election. What were the two choices? Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump. I kept thinking to myself, it's too bizarre. The two choices were just too bizarre. How much do they disrespect us to offer us a casino operator and a seemingly insane woman? It doesn't make sense. But then again, Obama came out of nowhere. Couldn't prove he had a birth certificate. When he was during his inauguration speech after he was reelected, he said his two top priorities were gay marriage and gun control. Who are these people? And then, of course, George Bush Jr., being the president during 9/11, with apparently plenty of evidence that it was all a inside job. In this book, I made a video on this book or two. Look at all my tabs. Had so much material in it, I had to put all those tabs. But 911 Synthetic Terra, series number 12 in my video series, Freemasonry and Satanism, series number 12. So just look up Freemasonry and Satanism, book review 12. And if I made 2 videos, they'll both pop up. If I made 3, I got to go back through my books and make up more videos. But there's just a serious amount of evidence in this book by Webster Griffin Tarpley. And see all those symbols on the cover of this book? Those all mean something. Look at the Pentagon. Look at the pyramid with the crown. Look at the all-seeing eye on the back of the dollar bill. Look at the obelisk in your city square. And so much more. There is a mystery religion, and I've begun to see it clearer with some of the books I've been going over, and I've been sharing it in my current videos. I'm up to series number 205 on the Freemasonry and Satanism series. Alright, back to these documents. We've got another 8 minutes left in the show. Maybe I'll go a little bit past because I got started a little late. But it says here, and I checked this out just on a whim. I get these ideas in my head and I go look up stuff. But the migrant border crisis is all over the world. And I think they use these words to deceive us. Why are all those people fleeing the entire Middle East after 9/11? Well, they've had helicopters in the air and missiles launched at them and total destruction in Iraq, Afghanistan, and now Syria. And then Iran is being threatened. And if you go on Yahoo image site and just look up Greater Israel, you'll see that they plan on having a country that returns, biblical prophecy here, to the ancient kingdom of Judea borders from the Euphrates River in Iraq down to the Nile in Egypt. A big area. Can't get used to this computer thing. A big area. So I believe that these people and these huge corporations that answer to no one, dumping the chemicals in the sky, putting up the microwave weaponized cell phone towers and HAARP transmitters, and directed energy beams, and even laser beams they can fire from planes or big ships, and they probably have ground-based ones. Who knows where they might be installing these laser beams inside of the top of mountains or on the top of huge skyscrapers? They're installing something, and they're going to use AI, artificial intelligence, to control the situation, like they did in the Jade Helm 15 exercises, preparing for some martial law. But anyways, on a whim, I looked up the migrant crisis, and it was bigger than I thought. Not only building a fence down there on the USA-Mexican border, but the anti-migrant border fence goes up in the Balkans. And it says here, Hungary, anti-migrant fence in Hungary, European migrant crisis. You can look this up and investigate for yourself. But all over the world, there are displaced people. Intentional displaced people. Those people were doing fine, and we could have developed the Middle East. Half the size of the United States, that small pocket. And if you include all of North Africa, it's the size of the United States. And somebody is depopulating all of those areas, and there is a plan for a greater Israel. So Israel seems to be at the top of the pyramid, along with the Vatican. Let's leave out the other culprits, and the high-level Freemasons and Rosicrucians and Illuminati and Kabbalist people into this secret mystery religion. And apparently they're trying to fool everybody and say that there's an alien base in Antarctica. And they found 3 ships and the frozen remains, flash frozen, of all these aliens. And they found some records. And we people don't have souls, really. It was these aliens who made us in a laboratory thousands of years ago. And they're coming back. See, if you put everything I'm talking about in this video, Greater Israel, chemtrailing, artificial intelligence, weaponized microwaves, HAARP transmitters, global elite buying up water supplies, and so much more, you get a good idea what's going on. Somebody's preparing for something huge, like in the book I just showed you. They prepared for 9/11. It's in the book, and many other books I've gone over. And again, more evidence that this teaching, propaganda, is ongoing. Here's another book. I was watching a video by Stephen Quayle, and I've always had a great respect for Steve Quayle. I made a video on one of his books in my series. But, some of these people, like Glenn Beck, and I don't want to disparage or say anything negative about Alex Jones, or I like David Icke. I watch all these people's videos, but I am convinced Glenn Beck is not being sincere. He's part of the New World Order program, but they throw a lot of truth in there with a little bit of deception. And Steve Quayle, in his book, the title says everything. Look at the picture of the flying saucer. Somebody's going through a lot of trouble to convince us that some aliens made us. There's a lot of stuff here on this document if you go look it up. Empire Beneath the Ice, and that's at stevequayle.com index page. So I encourage you to look into this. Then, of course, with Zachariah Stitchin's material, they talk about the Anunnaki aliens and planet Nibiru. And then, of course, the 2202 in my series Freemasonry and Satanism. I made a video on the Nephilim, apparently fallen angels. So anyways, I'm up to 1 o'clock. I was planning on a 1-hour video, so I've got about 8 minutes to go because I was 8 minutes late. And I brought out a few books to further prove my belief. Confessions of an Economic Hitman. I got to get used to this system. John Perkins. Series 7. So I probably made this in November or December 2013 when I started my video series. But he tells all on how the elite have coerced, even assassinated presidents of many countries all over the world to borrow millions and billions, knowing that they would go into bankruptcy and fall under the control of the world elitist, the banking system, the United Nations. It was all intentional. It's in the book. Go watch my video. Go look up other sources. Go buy the book. And again, other books in my previous series. HAARP. I talked a lot about this. The ultimate weapon of the conspiracy. Apparently they're using Tesla technology. That's series 32 on my series. You can go watch the video. You can go buy the book. Well, anyways, after World War II, the world elite had a problem. They were using feudalism, country battling each other, blaming that country for something, maybe an insane murder or something, or blowing up a building like how they started World War II with the Reichstag fire, or World War I with the ferry with Americans on board off the coast of Britain they said that was sunk. Later on it wasn't sunk. So they use these things to get this country to be mad as heck against this country, and they do something atrocious to get these people mad at those people. The problem the elite have had all along is keeping people patriotic, keeping them fired up to go kill people from another country. And with the event of the nuclear explosions in Japan, nuking Japan, they realized they couldn't use this threat any longer. They had to find a different way to keep people under the thumb of threat, fear, needing the government. So they got a group of people, elitists, together, and they made this book. Report from Iron Mountain. You can go watch my video, series 28. So in this book, it says that they had to come up with some new ideas to keep people in line. Environmental threat, terrorism threat, economic destruction threat, alien threat. It's all in this book, these elitists. So they have a program they're operating under. Meanwhile, there's other books out there that tell us that they're building underground bases. Richard Sauter, PhD, not a dumb guy, but I've made videos on this book, Series 31. So I have a lot of accumulated knowledge over the past 5 years of making videos. And apparently they have a secret government behind the scenes operating and controlling the situation, combating information, like with those videos that say chemtrailing is just a big conspiracy theory with 10% of the Americans likely mentally ill believing in such nonsense. But then we have the books. Series 35 in my series, The Population Bomb. You can't make this stuff up. Go watch the videos. Paul Ehrlich, serious insider into the global world order program. Population Control or Race to Oblivion. You can't make this up. You can go buy the book. The back of this book, it says, the mankind's inalienable rights. The right to pure water, eat well, breathe clean air. The right to decent, uncrowded shelter, the right to natural beauty, the right to avoid regimentation, the right to avoid pesticide poisoning, the right to freedom of thermonuclear war, the right to limit families, and the right to educate our children, and the right to have grandchildren. Paul Ehrlich is a professor of biology and a director of graduate study for the Department of Biological Sciences, Stanford University. His specialty is population biology. So anyways, there's some elite people coming out with some serious books. And of course they give these to the politicians, and they believe this stuff. If that isn't enough, here's another one. The Limits to Growth. These are all 1967, 71, 69. Back when they started the hippie movement. Over in Europe they called it festivals. And they were introducing drugs into the community and free love and anti-establishment. They were creating the situation we have today. Anyways, this book here was by a couple interesting people, and also a report for the Club of Rome's project on the predicament of mankind. That's what it says there on the bottom. The predicament of mankind. I was surprised to find this book published in 1980. Pole Shift. John White. Nice thick book. Has all the sources of the different material about a predicted pole shift. And I just thought it was interesting I could find a book this old. But a cataclysmic inversion of the planet's axis of rotation up to 180 degrees, a sudden slippage of the planet's solid crust around the molten core. How it happened before and how it could happen again. Top researcher John White probes deeply into the ancient history, modern sciences, and psychic prophecy, drawing on experts from every field to reach his astonishing conclusions about the possibility of a pole shift. Great civilizations long lost ago in a pole shift. How nuclear war could trigger a pole shift. Safe geographical areas during pole shift. the secret that could prevent a pole shift. So you can't believe all this stuff when you read it. But the books are out there. The propaganda is out there. Zecharia Sitchin's The Anunnaki Aliens. Meanwhile, I made a video on this book. Clouds of Secrecies. The Army's Germ Warfare Test Over Populated Areas. Leonard Cole. Series 18. I guess the title says everything there. They're testing these weapons and chemicals and plagues and biologicals and everything else, electromagnetic programs, mind controlling people, altering people, probably killing people. And you can go get the books and find out for yourself. And another one that was quite devastating to make a video on, but Emerging Viruses, AIDS, and Ebola, Leonard Horowitz, series number 17. Go watch my video. It's like a nice encyclopedia book. And all the evidence he has gathered, that they even created AIDS in a laboratory. They even had to go to Alaska twice to find a frozen body of somebody who died from the bird flu, Spanish flu, 100 years ago. They went through a lot of effort to find and recreate these viruses. A lot of effort to make designer diseases like AIDS to target certain peoples. And they released these AIDS in LA and in New York and apparently and in Africa. So if they did it once, and you can get a big thick book. And Leonard Cole, Leonard Horowitz. And lastly, and I'll end this program, Murder by Injection, a must-read. During the early 1900s, John Rockefeller, the Illuminati elite, it always goes back to them, took over the water system supplies all over the country and forced them to put fluoride in the water. Aluminum, byproduct. They're spraying aluminum in the sky. They're putting aluminum in the water. They know what it does. They took over the medical establishment. Eustace Mullins is a famous writer, a journalist from Washington, D.C., an insider. He wrote a lot of books. Murder by Injection. So I've showed plenty of evidence here that all this activity targeting humanity is intentional. When you can grasp that concept, and the thing with the migrants and people being displaced, forced on communities all over the world, flying people into New York or Philadelphia from the Middle East and sneaking them into our small towns and cities and giving them unlimited financial checks every week and borrowing money so they can buy businesses, all behind the scenes, not informing the people of what's really going on, with a planned global world order, new age, the destruction of Christianity and other religions. So I just wanted to go over and talk about, like I said, the chemtrails and the HAARP transmitters and the cell phone 5G network coming online. So I'll go back and see what my comments will look like. I can't see the comments when I'm in the streaming software, but I can see myself. But when I'm over there in the it's where I can see the comments, I can't see myself. Alright, some of the comments here. Yes, Bellstar, the apparently Israel tried to sink the USS Liberty, and apparently the government covered it up. People need to look into that. Alright, so I had 8 people watching the video, and of course it'll be permanently on my video channel. Alright, we got another commenter here making a comment. And the Kalergi, Kalergi plan, the Kalergi plan to ethnically cleanse the native populations of Europe through forced assimilation and political correctness. Yes, sir, I believe that is true, and I think it's going to get really ugly. People are going to be made to swear allegiance to this global world order, and those people who resist, I suppose, will be eliminated, to put it mildly. Something I discovered a long time ago that was interesting, but in the Dominican Republic, they built this huge, I guess they call it a Catholic church, but it looks like a gigantic Mayan temple. And when you went inside, per the description I read years ago, it's a long corridor with doors like cells on both sides with bars on the windows. It was a prison in the church, and the top of it looked like a Mayan temple. But what was really interesting, apparently Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton were visiting it, and apparently Hillary Clinton had tears in her eyes and said she couldn't wait to see the facility in operation. I just have this memory about some of the research I did, and I did go look up the facility. You can find it in the Dominican Republic. It does look like a Mayan temple. In the tops of Mayan temples, they sacrificed people. So when you do the research like I've been doing and making all these videos and paying attention to current events versus all this stuff and all these books I have, you can't help but believe that as this commenter just says, Judaism is the Babylonian Satanism, and I will clarify that how I think about it, is all these people into this mystery religion, and the higher-ups in the Freemasons, Rosicrucians, Illuminati, Knights of Malta, Knights of Columbus, Knights of the Garter, and including the Zionist Jewish people into the Kabbalah, which practice basically sorcery or witchcraft. This is the enemy. It is just what it says in the Bible. It's just a matter of perspective and how you look at it. Another commenter just says, if the American citizens do not rise up, we are all done. And that's why I just made this video today. And I've made going on almost 500 videos, 600, 700, 800 hours of videos, 14 years of my life into this research, because I think if we don't wake up, we're done for. And another motivating thing for me why I did this is, I'm 60 years old. I've had an amazing, wonderful life. I had a sailboat, I've had motorcycles, I had a house by the beach with a swimming pool. I could go into the woods and go hunting. I was in the military. I went to college, got an electronic technology degree. I had a good life. And I just became concerned that the people after me are not going to have the opportunities that I had. So I decided to dedicate a portion of my life to trying to figure out what the heck is going on in 2005. And because I went to Costa Rica on my big 0 birthday, you can do the math there, and I sat at a tiki bar, and these foreigners, I was the only American at the bar, proceeded to tell me that they felt sorry for we Americans. We didn't know what was going on. And they told me a lot of things. And of course, as an American, it was total disbelief. I went home to Florida, and I started doing some research, and I got angry. They were right. I was wrong. So we do have this battle. It is anti-Christian, and I'm convinced it's anti-Muslim. Obviously, they've been bombing and killing all those Arabs for quite a few years. And they've been killing people in Africa and killing people in South America, Central America. What about the American Indians? In China, the revolution. Millions of people died. Russian Revolution. 50, 60, 100 million people were killed. So unless people wake up, we're probably going to see a very bad, crazy, insane world. But again, I'm not worried. I'm a spiritual being in this biological body. Even in the Bible, it says, do not worry about these things. You're supposed to have faith and belief. Because they can kill the flesh and blood body, but they can't take my soul. I guess I have to give that willingly. Well, thank you. One of my commenters says she's watched my videos and read many of my books. And happy Sunday, Rick. Keep up the great work. Great job, Rick. So I'm going to end this video. And what I'm thinking, I'm going to try, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but is to have a daily show at noon, 7 days a week. Maybe I could try it for a month. And maybe people during their lunch break would start telling their friends, and people could leave comments like you're doing now, and we could talk about the current events. We could talk about some of these subjects, about books published, detailing the evidence of what's going on. The death of Christianity will bring back the Jewish Messiah. That's what one commenter said. So thank you for watching and participating in this. Like I said, I'm going to try to see if I could do a 1-hour show at a designated time that people could count on it. It's quite a commitment for me in my life. But if I can do it, I think people will start taking break from their lunch when their iPhones and their iPads or their computers, and people can get together and talk about these things. Thank you for watching my show.